The masterclass topic is how to grow a successful art business from scratch and start living the dream, my friends. That's what we're trying to do here. And I'm just going to point out a couple of things before we get rocking. First of all, you've already been in the chat, many of you, and you can ask me any kind of questions in the chat at any point during my presentation. And you can also go into the Q&A to ask a question. And I might not be able to get to all the questions as I'm going, but I will be able to go back, especially to the Q&A. It's a little easier for me to see it because it's not buried in the thread of everything. So if you go into the Q&A, if you have a burning question, I will definitely get to it by the end. So drop it in there or drop it into the chat. Sometimes I can read those as I'm going. So feel free, anytime you got a question or a comment, jump on in there. My team member, Sally, is on the chat. So if you have a question that I can't get to it at the moment, she might be able to help you out. So here we go. What we're going to cover today. It's a couple topics that I want to discuss, and I got a lot to cover. I've got a lot that I want to go through. So we're going to be moving kind of fast through some of it. One of the things that I want to talk about are the absolutely incredible opportunities that artists have right now in this moment in history. I want to talk about the basic formula for art business success. I want to talk about why I don't think that competition and a saturated market is even a problem that we need to worry about. And I'm going to talk about pricing, and I'm going to cover a surprising secret that many artists don't realize and they get wrong. And I'm going to discuss my policy of embracing the haters. And finally, I'm going to give you an introduction to my membership, Art Revenue Coaching. The door is on Art Revenue Coaching just opened, so I'm going to discuss it a little bit at the end. And if you hang on until the end, if you stay with me, I'm going to give you a link to a really cool free bonus that you can get just for hanging out with me this afternoon. All righty. So first of all, you might not know who I even am. My name is Josie, and I am on the social media. If you do know me, you probably found me on social media. I'm everywhere as Josie Lewis Art, and across all my platforms, I have 3 million plus followers, and I post a lot of satisfying art videos in many of my platforms. And then I also have the Josie Show, which is an additional brand where I give support to artists because I just love helping artists make better art and then also to sell their art if that's a direction that they want to go in. I've been a full-time artist since I was a teen. Way back in the day, I knew that I wanted to be an artist. In recent years, I gave a TEDx talk on art and flow. I published a book on color. I have a BFA and an MFA, which yes means I went to art school for 8 years. I have taught thousands of people, both art like practice and tutorials. I've done it live in workshops. I've done it online. And I've also taught many, many people all about art business. And if that's not enough, I'm currently running a 7-figure art studio. So I'm selling art, I'm making art, I'm selling art. For many years, I was a full-time artist and a part-time waitress. I loved making art. I loved the practice of making art. I knew I was a dedicated creator. I loved it so much. And yet I couldn't quite figure out how to make it into a business, into something that could sustain me in a significant way. So I worked part-time jobs, and I did that for many, many years. And I don't think that's a bad way to go. And in fact, I totally recommend that if there's an artist that's hoping to, have it as a side hustle, or maybe even more in the future, that they should consider doing something like waiting tables or driving Uber, or doing some sort of like a low taxing side job, so they can invest their true heart and soul into their art, which is what I did for many, many, many years. It took me a little while to figure out the business stuff of being a full-time artist. And one of the reasons why is because, excuse me. One of the reasons why is because nobody ever told me how. My dad was an artist, an incredible painter, just an amazing painter, still is. And he never really figured out the magic of selling it. He would sell pieces here and there, but he could never make it into a full-time gig, even though his dedication and his talent and his body of work warranted it. It was hard for him to figure that out. And then it was hard for me, and it was hard for all the artists I knew. It was hard for everybody. But I kept going because I loved art, and I knew I wanted to be an artist. And I just thought, well, this is just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But then some things happen, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think things are different now than even the way they were 20 years ago, when my dad was, 20 or 30 years ago, when my dad was trying to make a living as an artist. There's a lot of things that have happened just in the last 10 to 20 years that have completely changed the landscape, And if artists don't take advantage of this, at this moment, like, they are missing out, because there's something that's really spectacular for artists. And just out of curiosity, those of you that are here, I'd love to hear if you can think of any of the things that I'm going to mention here. I think I have about 8 different things that are kind of new in the history of the world that are really great for artists. So if you can think of anything, Caitlin says Instagram. Heck yeah, Caitlin. That's number 2, right on my list. Number 2. Well, the first one, of course, is the internet, because it is this connectivity device. We can literally communicate in many different ways with anybody, anywhere in the world. And most people in the entire world have some sort of internet. They have some sort of device. They can connect with us. It's really incredible. And then, of course, there's social media. Somebody mentioned, Kelly Jo mentioned Pinterest. Ooh, Doug Freeman mentioned email. We're going to get to email in a minute. There's Facebook, there's Pinterest, there's TikTok, there's others. There's smaller kinds of social media. And the thing that's really remarkable about social media is that, once again, not only can you connect with many billions of people that are using it, but you can also create an identity as an artist that's unique to you. You can create your own little corner of the interwebs. You can create your own brand over time. And it's a great way to pull in people that might be interested, in your art and what you have to offer. Easy to build websites. Just even 15 years ago, it was hard to build a website. You had to have a degree in computer coding, or I don't know. It was crazy. It was really, really hard. And it was like, it was hard to change anything on your websites. It's like you could get it. Somebody could like hack it together for you. And then it was just, that was the way it is. You couldn't even move anything around. Now, you have to have some like basic skills. It's not like it's completely easy, but you can pretty much just plug and play. They make it so straightforward. Most of the big website providers, they just like make it very, very easy. There's tons of tutorials and you're able to do it. Kelly Jo says she just started, she just learned HTML to create one. Wait, did you do that 21 years ago, or you did it recently? Wow. I don't have any wish to learn HTML, and I'm glad I don't have to. Safe electronic payment processing. I don't know if you guys use Venmo. or PayPal or all those cash apps. But I can take my PayPal account, I can create an invoice, I can send it to someone in Japan, they can pay it, then PayPal takes their shipping information and through PayPal, I can create a label and I can slap the label on the package and ship it off to Japan. And in fact, this is something that happened to me recently to Japan. The lovely buyer in Japan got the art in 3 days. It was crazy. It was crazy. Now, I don't want us to not be aware of the huge impact of Amazon and Etsy. It could include eBay. eBay was kind of the first one, actually, I forgot to mention it here, but eBay was the first one. And what eBay did is that it normalized person-to-person buying online. So somebody in Vancouver could sell their iPod, which I bought one back in, 2004 or something. I bought an iPod and it was really weird because it was like, I'm buying this from just like a stranger. It's like if it was at a garage sale or someone's house, at least you go and you look at it, and then you exchange cash and they give you the thing. But this is like, I'm sending someone money and then they're going to mail me this thing that's valuable. And it felt really weird, but it worked. It worked. Like people really did ship the thing that you purchased. And so eBay became this huge thing. I don't know how important eBay is anymore, but it really changed how we think about shopping online. And then of course, Amazon did the same thing. It's just so normalized to buy stuff online. And Etsy came in the scene, I think 15 or 20 years ago, and they standardized the practice of buying handmade goods from someone online. So it wasn't just buying someone's used iPod, it was buying someone's handmade whatever jewelry. Hero says my iPad is from eBay too. Heck yeah. eBay is great. eBay is great. There's also fast and reliable global shipping. I just mentioned shipping that package to Japan in 3 days. It was like, I have shipped everywhere in the world, and I have had very few packages get damaged or go missing, which is extraordinary when you think about, just 100 years ago, it would take 3 months like to get to India, and now I can ship a package there, air freight, and it gets there in a couple days. It's really remarkable. And finally, the last few years of a global pandemic changed the landscape, especially for artists. And the reason that happened, I think, is because, well, first of all, we couldn't shop in person anymore. A lot of galleries closed, brick and mortar galleries closed. We all stopped going to stores. Kelly Jo says, and then there was Zoom. Yes, indeed. And then there was Zoom. Absolutely. So the global pandemic changed the landscape. And what happened is enterprising artists that had previously maybe only sold in real life events or via a gallery were like, well, shoot, I got to take matters into my own hands. I have this Instagram account. I have this website. Maybe I can just sell from there. And they can, and they do. And so it changed the way a lot of artists think about the need to be represented by a gallery. It's no longer as essential as it used to be. 30 or 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 80 years ago, you had to have a gallery because there was no other way that people bought art. The gallery was the curator. They would find the artist. They would bring the artist to the gallery. Then the gallery would foster relationships with buyers, people that were interested in buying art. And then the artist would have a show every 2 years, and the buyers would come in and they'd say, amazing, I'm going to buy one. It was a very slow process, and it was a very restrictive process. But now things are quite a bit different, because I could make something this morning and sell it this afternoon because of the internet, because of my website, because of my direct relationship with humans all over the world. You might be saying, you might have some objections at this point. You could be like, well, but Josie, you make it sound so easy, but it's not so easy. It's hard. It's hard because there's so many people on the internet, and they have They have so much art, and how can anybody, well, nobody's going to stop for me. And it's so difficult. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how you can stand out on the internet and in the world as an artist. Okay, so you didn't expect a little Jay-Z in this masterclass, did you? But I've been just obsessed with this quote lately from Jay-Z. I ain't a businessman. I'm a businessman. And I actually don't know exactly what he meant when he wrote this, when he said this, but I have some theories, and it relates exactly to what we're talking about today. Because a lot of times artists think in terms of the thing they're making, which is right and good, because we are putting all of our heart and soul into making something amazing. And I'm curious, for those that are here on the call, I'd like to know what it is you make. What is your thing? Pop that in the chat, because I'd like to hear what kind of stuff that you like to make. So, of course, we put so much effort and work into developing our voice, and to figuring out the technical stuff, and to developing all sorts of different ways to communicate what we are trying to do. And it takes a long time. And so we focus a lot of attention on just the product. But going back to our guy, going back to Jay-Z, I ain't a businessman. I'm a businessman. So a businessman or woman would say, okay, I've got this widget, I'm going to sell it. But an artist or a creative says, I'm the business. I'm not the go-between of this product. I am the influencer. There's something else. I could have put that on my list. The influencer culture. That's new in the history of the world. And ultimately, artists are influencers. Yes, I'm seeing so many different mediums. Floral art from Susan, paintings in digital from Claire. I'm seeing hybrid art, traditional collage plus digital from Mel. Ooh, Nicola says, I make eggshell art. Wow. And she says niche. Yes, I would like to see that. I did some eggshell art once. True story. I dyed eggshells, and then I submerged them in resin. It turned out pretty cool. Okay, cool. I love seeing all these. All right. So for artists, it's not just about the one thing that you make, though. It's about the whole package. Yes, it is your art, because your art is the thing that you actually sell. I hate to use the word product, but when you're making art, you're making a physical thing that someone can buy and, display in their house or display in their space. But it's also about your overall colors, your color palette. And it's also about your personality, like what you're into. It's about your preferences. It's about your background, who you are, where did you come from? Why do you do eggshell art? Like, why are you into a particular style? What in your history brought you to this moment? Your prices tell a story of who you are. Your style, just, how do you dress? How do you decorate? What's in your house? What do you drive? What's your vibe? What's your hairstyle? Your web presence, of course. So the web presence is a big bucket, because of course that includes your social media. It includes your email list. It includes your website, if you have one. It includes anywhere that you're featured online. If there's ever been a blog post written about you, or if you were in a group show, or if you have like a background in art and you have an exhibition calendar, maybe there's websites around that feature you. All of this amounts to something that is so important, and that is your brand. And a lot of people hear the word brand and they think, well, that's a logo. I don't have a logo, or I have a logo, but I don't know how important it is. Or I need a logo and it's the most important thing, and I need to spend thousands of dollars to get it right. And here's the thing, your brand, in my estimation, isn't important at all. I mean, your logo isn't important at all. Your brand is important. Your logo is not important. So what is a brand? What is a brand, Josie? What in the heck is a brand? Okay, here's what a brand is. It's your essence. It's your story. It's how you communicate. It's like the whole picture. It's the whole enchilada of who you are and what you bring to the table. That's what an influencer is. I don't love that. I don't love that term because I kind of feel like the way influencer that term is used now is that it kind of means someone who just is like shilling for other products. You know, they're saying, oh, here's this mattress that I like, and here's this car I want to drive, and here I got this new nail polish and this new face cream and whatever. And that works for some people, and so a lot of people make a lot of money doing that. But I think for artists, I like the term artfluencer. I don't know if I made that up. I thought it was clever, but probably somebody else used it before me. But I like the term artfluencer because we are not promoting someone else's products. We're promoting our own brand, our own art, our own contribution to the world. So this is why we don't have to worry about competition, because we are not presenting a commodity that now enters a crowded marketplace of other commodities that are all vying for consumers' attention. We are presenting a distinct and unique identity that is very particular. And I'm going to prove it to you, just because I'm not great at tidying up. And so one of the things that happens is on my desk, I collect all my cups of coffee, which is why I've got coffee cups here. I love to collect homemade coffee mugs, like hand thrown coffee mugs. I don't collect that much stuff, but hand thrown coffee mugs are my thing. And so I'm just going to show you a sample. It's probably kind of small in that little tiny picture, but here's one of my favorites. Love it. I have a big coffee addiction. So it just elevates the experience when I get to drink it out of just a shockingly beautiful mug. This is a real cool one. It's kind of dented and weird shaped. Here's another awesome one that I love. I've got so many mugs. And my husband is like, we don't have counters. We don't have cabinet space for the mugs. But I will not be stopped. I will not be stopped. And let me tell you, I will, I know you can run down to Target and buy a mug for $7, but I have bought mugs that have gold leaf on them for $150, and it's worth it. It is worth it. Nada says, I love different coffee mugs. You're my twin. Indeed. Indeed. It just is so delightful to have those mugs. I love it so much. So I will buy multiple mugs, and I will spend real money, like far more than a standard mug at the convenience store. I guess you can't really buy mugs at the convenience store, at the Target or the equivalent stores. The mugs are pretty cheap, but not the kind that I buy. And I am buying them because of an overall oeuvre, to use a French word. It's like the essence of the artist that I'm purchasing from. Most of the artists, the artisans that I buy mugs from, I have followed their social media accounts, or I regularly visit their studio, or I have encountered them several times. And I'm like, oh yeah. So now it's not just a beautiful mug. It's a whole story of the artist that made it. And like my, kind of the journey of me finding the mug and purchasing the mug. So they're all very meaningful, which, by the way, people who buy art tend to operate like that. And I'm going to discuss that a little bit more in just a minute. So a successful art business, this is the formula. The formula for a successful art business. You have to have the great art, and that is like a unique voice. And that is, you've resolved some of the technical challenges. You've been making art for a while and you've just refined it. You need to have access to collectors, which is where do you get the eyeballs? You need to be either exhibiting in real life, or you need to be showing on the internet. You need to have some way that people will encounter your work. You need to have good pricing, which I'm going to talk just a little bit about pricing in a second, because pricing is the magic that can really help make a business, an art business, be profitable and successful. And it's not because it's cheap. There's a teaser for you. And then also you got to have good service. So you have to be able to, if somebody in Japan buys some work from you, then you have to actually be able to figure out how to package it and how to ship it and how to get it to them without too much trouble, so that people learn that they can trust you. So those are the important elements. And if you have all of those working together, then it will work. It will absolutely work for you to be able to have a successful art business. And I want to emphasize the great art thing up here. When I was teaching painting, I used to teach painting at a college, and it was just beginner painters. And I would walk around the room and they'd be painting the still life. And I'd say, I'd go around and I'd ask them how they were doing and give them pointers and answer questions and whatever. And so I just kind of did laps around the room. And what I found after, I probably taught painting for 4 or 5 years. What I found as I was walking around the room is that I would find a painter that was doing something kind of unique and interesting with their art. If they're painting, they're all painting the still life, they're all painting the same thing, but some people would have like this distinct way of handling it, and it would be pretty good, and so I'd say, are you having fun? And every time they said yes. And in the cases where somebody was obviously struggling, like they were just, couldn't figure out how to use the paint or mix the paint or whatever, I had asked them if they were having fun, and they were like exasperated, like, no, I'm not. So the thing that makes art great is our love. So when most of you on this call are probably here because you love to make art, which I can almost guarantee if you have that feeling of fun and that feeling of love, then I can almost guarantee that you're doing something unique and interesting and compelling. Just a side story. Okay. Quick pricing mistake. There's something that happens sometimes with artists because they start to think that their art needs to be a commodity. Kind of like if you go to Target and you're picking out paper towels, generally speaking, you don't have brand loyalty, to paper towels or to soap or to gasoline or whatever. You just find the one that's cheapest. It'll do the job, So that's what a commodity is. And so artists sometimes feel like they're a commodity, that whatever they make is a commodity. And maybe they make mugs, or maybe they make paintings, or maybe they make handmade woolen knit mittens. I would classify that as art. But they start to feel like they need to compete at the commodity level, which means they keep driving their prices down and down and down, to the point where they're not making any money because their time and their materials are expensive. So they're losing money, and then they are finding it's not even helping to sell their work. So I want to just make mention of this right now because it's just a problem that I see so often. So many artists fall prey to this. And what this graph shows is this concept of commodification. So over here, we have the cheap and common. So we've got gasoline, we've got canned goods, we've got paper goods, we've got stuff that you can buy at Target, like you just kind of buy the whatever, and you if something's 25 cents cheaper, you go for the 25 cents cheaper one. But then over here on the expensive and rare category, we have Rolex watches and Tiffany diamonds and Coach handbags and Van Gogh paintings, or any paintings. And they are luxury goods, and they don't go on sale. They don't try to price match other providers. Coach does not have like a discount rack outside its New York flagship store. Like, it's like, nope, the price is the price. And if you're buying a Coach handbag, you know what you're in for. And they don't use economy as a message of selling. They use exclusivity. And art, there could not be anything more exclusive than art. Not in a like a annoying way, but more like there's only one of you and you can only make one thing at a time. It's a very, very unique and individual. So artists definitely belong in the expensive and rare category, because if they're over here, you can go to Target and you can buy a framed print for $20 that somebody, mass produced somewhere, and it's perfectly fine, perfectly good. You can throw it on your wall and it's like add a little decor, a little mood, a little ambiance to your house. And that's fine. I bought such prints. I just needed something, so it's like, great, I like this, I'm buying it, it's $20. But if artists try to compete with that market, we'll be in big trouble. So that is, I'm going to move on from pricing. I could talk about pricing quite a lot, but I'm going to move on from that for one moment because I got to keep going. So the successful artist mindset, there's two things that I want to mention about the successful artist mindset, because when I was putting this presentation together, I just kept coming back to mindset work, like thinking about what we need to do as artists, ambitious creatives that want to grow our craft and possibly make some money and build a business and all the things. There's two things that you have to be aware of. One is that it's a journey. It just takes time. We march down this road and our development takes time. We have to experiment a lot with our making. We have some failures. We have some wins. We iterate. We try different things, and then we come back to things, and then we iterate on things, and we change things, and it just takes time. The same thing is true with business. It just takes time. There probably are overnight successes as artists. I don't know, maybe, but mostly in business and in artistic quality, it just is something that happens over time. It's something that happens as a relationship. And number two, we do it because we love it. That's why we can keep going when it's hard, because we actually love it. We're called to it. We want to do it. We're filled with energy because of the process of making art. But just because we love it doesn't mean we shouldn't get paid for it, because a lot of artists are like, well, I do it anyway, so I guess it can be really cheap, and that shouldn't be the case. We should love it, and then we should also get paid for it, because the world should love it too, because what we're bringing is so important and precious in the world. Okay. Oh, well, there we go. Here, we're just going to go through these slides. Okay. So there's two types of creatives. Well, there's more than two probably, but I'm just going to mention two just for the sake of the masterclass. One type is bold, fierce, fearless, energetic. They just jump in, they do it. They have no problems with artist block. They don't have doubts. They just plunge in. And that is a great personality. I know a few of these. Types of creatives and artists. And they're spectacular and amazing, and they're unicorns. It's not me, and it's not almost anybody I know. Most creatives are terrified and full of doubt. Most creatives don't know what the heck they're doing, and they're not even sure if they should be doing it. So Anna says, I'm the number two. Indeed, so am I. And this is what it looks like. We procrastinate. We have imposter syndrome. We feel like we don't have a voice. We shouldn't be qualified to have a voice to bring to the table. We have fear of being judged. We have art scars where somebody told us, years ago that our art wasn't good or that we could never make money. We have mom guilt. This could also be dad guilt. parental guilt where, we have other things that we need to take care of that are important. But so then if we take any time to make some art, we're like, oh, but my child, I should probably be reading to my child and helping them with their homework and, cleaning something. And mom guilt is a big one for me. Anyway, I experienced that. We are afraid of wasting time. We are afraid of wasting materials. And I experience every single one of these every day. It happens every day, every day. So, in fact, I don't know if you've been following me for any length of time. But I since I get so many views on the internet, I also get a lot of haters. And so I just pulled, these are actual comments that I've been saving them. I know I'm a bit of a, I don't know. I'm a bit of an odd duck, but I save the mean comments. So I'll read just a couple of them. It seems like the less talent a person has, the more paint they use. It's a good one. Let's see. It started out so cute, but then it ended up a bunch of disgusting worms. Bummer. Wannabe artist, go make some actual art. Waste of painting for nothing. It's pure pollution. WTF is that piece of thrash. The typos are my favorite often. Okay, so I get a lot of these comments. Anytime anything goes viral, it's just like I get a bajillion comments. And here's the thing about the comments. Barf. These are actual, like, these humans at the end of a keyboard somewhere that, thought it was going to be an awesome plan to write the word barf and send it to an artist. Like, I mean, already there, I have some questions and concerns about that person, but it's not just this person that could make that comment. It's also the voices in my head, because, if we go back a couple of slides, all of this fear of wasting time, fear of wasting materials, I am in it. Like, I am absolutely in that mindset of fear and doubt many, 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 many times, of, many, many days. And I have to fight it. It's, I would call all this like resistance. And then the haters on the internet they're just like like the flies buzzing around all my already, kind of like complicated mindset problems that I'm trying to sort through. So I do have a couple of solutions for the haters, both in my brain and the haters elsewhere. And one of the solutions is to make the work. Just do the work, because when I get into flow, when I get into the studio, when I put my head down and do what my heart is telling me and follow my intuition and take the risk, all of that stuff kind of melts away. And so it's just the act of taking action on our creative calling that clears the rubble. It's a beautiful and mysterious, and I think even miraculous process. So it's just that step. It's just taking the step, do the work, move forward, take the action. And the second one is surround yourself with people who understand the creative struggles. Other artists are invaluable, because then it's like we can talk through stuff. People who know the journey and either are ahead of me or beside me or in a different area, and they can like give me pointers and help me to navigate, as we're it's like kind of uncharted territory, and it looks so different for every person. So having those people around is really amazing. So that is why I created Art Revenue Coaching, because I saw such a need for creatives to be supported, both with information, with knowledge and instruction, and then also community and people to come alongside them, people ahead, people behind, people on a lateral level that can figure out like, all right, let's work together to make your creative experience in this world and your creative output the very best it can be. And this membership, Art Revenue Coaching, I call it ARC, is open now. I only open it a couple times a year, and it's currently open. It opened today, and it's going to be open for another week. And it's pretty great. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is in the membership, and feel free to ask any questions as I'm going here. I see a couple of questions popped up in my Q&A, and so I'll get to those for sure. And ask me anything that you're curious about as I go. So our revenue coaching has a couple of different features and benefits. There's training that is released every month, plus an archive, the library of training that's existing in there right now that will help you make your best work, will help you sell it effectively. I want you to be able to get the training in the shortest amount of time. So I don't put a lot of extra fluff into it. I want it to be like actionable, short, and focused, so that people can take, like I said, take action, because we don't have a lot of time. We don't got time to like learn everything. We just need to find the best advice and then move on it. There's also community to support you. So there are, hundreds of other artists that are in the program, and they're amazing. I mean, people are so diverse. They're from countries all over the world. So it's globally diverse. It's also diverse as far as where people are at. Some people, came in with a paintbrush and a dream, and they're just starting. And other people, have a full-time major art business and, 100,000 Instagram followers. And so, it's a great community. And then also, every month there are live calls and coaching with me, and there's all sorts of events that we do on the regular. Here's some of the training that already exists in the membership. So there is the one I just did was art sales venues. So each training will have 5 or 6 different sessions. Each session is maybe 5 to 10 minutes long. There's always a PDF download. They always have closed captioning. They always have accompanying details and, supplemental worksheets and things like that. And there's more coming all the time. So the one that's coming out later this month is going to be on how to make art prints of your work, because I get a lot of questions about that. And I've been making art prints for decades, and so I know a lot. And I am excited to share with you some of my skills. And here's just a shot of the inside of the membership, just so you can see it. If you head over to my website, you can actually watch a video where I give you like a tour of what it looks like inside. And that's at josielewis.com/ARC. That's ARC. Okay, here is the pricing structure. You can do this a couple different ways. You can join monthly at $29 a month. You can join yearly at $290 a year. And if you are a real go-getter, you can join at the activator level. And so in the monthly, you'll get the training that is released every month, plus the whole library of training that I've released in the past. That also includes something that's called behind the scenes, which are live webinars and interviews and stuff that I've done with other artists that I think are helpful to you. There's also live calls. So at least once a month, sometimes more, we do live calls where you can hop on a Zoom with me and ask me questions, and we'll have a conversation. It's fun. We have some social events. We also have a private Facebook community, which is just incredible. Like, you can share your art, you can share your socials. We have a lot of supportive people that are excited to be your best friend on the internet. And it's really great to have that kind of community. And then of course, there's tutorials and how-tos, and I am adapting this to my members' needs as we go. So it's like, I'm asking people, well, what's the training you want next? And then I provide it. So every month we come up with new and cool things. Now, the benefit of joining it the yearly is you get all the stuff that you get with the monthly, but you get 2 months free. So it's a little bit of a discount, which is always nice. And you also get a few additional things there. We do monthly art critiques that are available for the yearly members, as well as accountability groups, co-working sessions, and some additional live events with me. So it's just a little bit more. And then of course, at the activator level, that's where I really get to know you. We're going to dig into your business stuff. And then there's also a mastermind that meets every other month, where it's like people that are, really committed to their art and their art business, and that, can support each other and help figure all the things out and work past the challenges. Okay. Now I know I told you I was going to give you a stay till the end bonus, and here it is. Since you stayed for this whole webinar, I'm going to give you a freebie, and the freebie is this is one of the trainings that's inside ARC. It's called How to Refine Your Unique Voice. There's 6 sessions, and it's super helpful. At whatever stage you're at as an artist, I think that this is a helpful training. And for you, my friends, it is free. So you can go to josielewis.com/bonus and just sign up, and then I'll send you the login information, and done and done. Okay, so I see some questions. I'm going to go back a page here. I see some questions in the Q&A that I'm going to answer, and feel free to pipe it up with some more questions anytime. Okay, let's see. Here's a question. Is there coverage in ARC on working out how to ship items for less than $25 an item? And another person answers this, or asks a very similar question. Cecilia says, she lives in Mexico and shipping is expensive. Haven't figured out how to price my art with this variant. So shipping is it's not going to be November, but it's going to be December. So there's going to be a training, because that's an issue that a lot of people ask about. So that's a training that's going to come out in December, and it's going to be, going to cover a lot, in that training, from figuring out how to charge for shipping, and then also figuring out how to actually do it, like to make sure that your art arrives in good hands and good peace. In specific answers to these questions that I see, well, the question here is there coverage in ARC on working out how to ship items for less than $25 an item? And there will be. It's in development. It will be in. It will be in, because that's a question that a lot of people get. But in the answer, just to these general shipping questions, that I would say to respond to them, directly, is that I always fold it in. I fold in the cost of shipping. I figure out how much stuff is going to cost, and I make sure that it's either included in the cost of the item if I'm going to do free shipping, or I figure out a way to, charge the extra to the buyer. And both of those are very effective. Both of them are very much standard, and most people that are buying art are going to be cool with it. So that, but yes, it is so important to solve those shipping problem, because making sure that you get paid, because if you don't get paid, then that's just no good. Somebody else asked, is there advice on how to price art? Biggest question I get on pricing. So I have a whole, I think there's seven lessons on pricing profitology, where I really dig in to some of the businessy stuff around that. We talk about margins and how to assess your time and how to assess your materials, and then also how to think about pricing in your kind of like more like your philosophy about how you're going to, communicate what your value is to the people that you're selling to. So yeah, that one's a zinger. It's a real good training session. Okay, let's see here. What else? Ooh, Nada says she's gonna join. Yay, outstanding. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you inside. Can't wait to see more about your art. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. Someone says, if you sign up for Activator now, will it charge you again next year for the same program, or can you change programs without losing ARC altogether? We can change. We can change the program. We will figure it out. And if you're interested in signing up for Activator, how fun. I would love that. That would be so fun, Caitlin. That's so cool. And yes, if you join, I mean, you know, the current members actually that joined 6 months ago, I just gave them an offer to upgrade before I open the doors again. And every time I open the doors, I raise the price a little bit. So I gave my former members the chance to upgrade at the former pricing. And then that's what I would do for all the upcoming, you know, the upcoming joiners as well. And if, you know, for certainly, you know, if somebody joined up, you know, a lot of times people join as monthly and then they decide they want to go for yearly. Or, you know, you might come in as an activator and then want to go to yearly next year. What we can figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll make it awesome. We'll make it completely awesome. Also, I want to tell you, oh, someone's asking, where is the link? Here's the link. Here's the link. Where is the link? I've got it here somewhere on one of these slides. There it is, josielewis.com/ARC. I will put it right here in the chat so you can see it. There she blows. Okay. Let's see. So if you join as a yearly, because you're just not sure, which I totally understand. I mean, I'm sorry, if you join as a monthly and you want to upgrade later, you can. We'll figure it out. And side note, I also offer a 7-day guarantee. So if you join at any level and then after 7 days, you're like, it's not a fit, I make it very, very easy. You just send me an email and I'll be like, full refund, done and done, no hard feelings. Thank you very much. Good luck to you. It's very easy. Also, it's very, very easy to cancel. I hate being in a membership where they don't make it easy or obvious on how to cancel. So there is a very clear path that if you decide it's not for you, I'll be sad, but I will understand. And I want to make sure that you can, you know, get out and carry on with your life in whatever capacity that you want to. Okay, let's see. Can you upgrade programs midway through the year? Yes. What the heck? We absolutely can figure that out. I get that question a lot. So we will definitely figure out a way to upgrade, you know, midway. And I think I might even start to offer like a consultant fee. Like if somebody just wants to have that hour with me, I'll figure out a way to add that as like a, you know, a single offer. Okay, let's see. Nicola says, are there many UK based artists in the Facebook group? I have some UK specifics issues around posting I'd like to get advice on. There are UK folks, in fact, lots of Europeans in the group. Germany is definitely represented here by Sally, who is on Team Josie. Sally lives near Stuttgart. And I know that there are some English artists, and I can't speak to how many there are, unfortunately. And probably, Carol says UK is not in Europe now, so postage is an issue. Yeah. Shipping is so different in literally every country, and I can ship very easily domestically. It's much harder when I'm shipping internationally. Sally, who lives in Germany, she also sells art, and shipping. She has a different bundle of problems with shipping, but it's possible. It can be done. It can be done. And in fact, I haven't had a show in a real life space now for probably 5 years, and it hasn't harmed me one bit. I ship all of my art, and it's just fine. Okay, let's see. Any more questions? Oh, here's some more questions. All right. If I were to join the program now in a few months, want to go to Activator, yes, we'll figure that out. I think that we'll offer some upgrade options if that's something that appeals to you. And it will be that same price. And probably what I'll do is, you can have that same price. If you join at the monthly and then you decide you want to go to yearly, we'll keep that same price until the next time I open, is kind of how I usually do it. Okay. Da, 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 da. Susan says, do you mean you might want to offer one-to-one calls in the future independent of the ARC program? Maybe, probably I'll do it inside ARC. But that's something to consider. I'll have to think that through. I think that I'd probably rather do it for the people in my membership, because then I can direct them to the training and stuff to get specific support for their issue, rather than reinventing the wheel. But I would consider that. All right. Okay, my friends. All right. Any more questions? Let's see. Anything else I want to cover here? What will happen if you join is right away you'll get emails from me. You'll be able to get inside ARC. You'll be able to start looking at all of the content. You'll be able to watch and listen to all the back stuff. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. We have an ARC private podcast, because I love to listen to stuff in the studio when I'm working, or when I'm cooking, or when I'm driving. And so I was like, what we should do is to just, because I love to multitask, let's see if we can let these artists listen to the training while they're working in the studio or doing whatever they want to do. So we have a private podcast which has everything on it. Like, we'll do live calls. If you can't attend, no problem. We'll post a replay, and we actually put that in the podcast, so you can just listen to the calls. And I've heard, I've heard from a lot of people that the live calls are incredibly interesting and helpful to listen to, because as people, it's so fascinating to me, as I've been doing this for a while now, and I've been getting to know all these artists, is that though there are a lot of commonalities, of course, between artists, a lot of the same questions and a lot of the same concerns, every single artist has a different path, just like every single artist has different art. So the path that every single artist is taking is different. Like, there's an artist in ARC right now who does pet portraits. And then there's another artist in ARC right now who's doing legacy pet portraits. So her niche is to make portraits of dearly departed pets. And then there's, those are just two very specific things that people are doing. But there's also jewelers, and there's also, I think there's a cake decorator. I think what I have to teach will really help any kind of creative, especially a visual creative. Candle maker, sure. Knitter, absolutely. Craft people of all stripes, I'll take them all. So there's a lot of things. Caitlin says, I'm terrified for activator. Imposter syndrome is so incredibly debilitating sometimes. Yeah, see, everybody, oh dear, my alarm's going off. Ryan, Lucy, if you're on this call, you should probably go pick up our daughter. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see. Nicola says, do you cover how to approach galleries, find potential collectors, etc.? Absolutely. And in fact, the session that just dropped last, there it is, art sales venues. So the session that just dropped is about, I think I list, I don't know, it's maybe 30 different ways that you can exhibit your art, either in real life or online. And it includes certainly galleries, and exhibit and sell, by the way. And so I give you loads of different things. And we do talk quite a bit about galleries throughout. So we talk about them in the art sales venues, because galleries, I love galleries. Galleries are a great way to sell art. And there's nothing that compares to seeing art in real life. I just think it's spectacular. So I have the highest respect for galleries. Galleries do take 50% of the cost of the art. So it's just something that has to be, considered when you are deciding whether to work with the gallery. So I talk about it quite a lot. I talk about it in the art sales venues and pricing profitology. And we can also discuss it even in more deeper terms, because I've worked with many galleries. And of course, I know many artists that work with galleries. Okay, let's see. I think Claire said bye. Goodbye. Nicola says fab. Thanks, Josie. Great. Yay. Woohoo. All right, you guys. It was so fabulous to spend this time with you. I hope at the very least that you got something valuable out of this and that you go and get your state of the end bonus over at josielewis.com/bonus. The benefit of that too is that you can check out the teaching style, how those, the trainings are structured. And if I have a helpful communications style for you, I hope I do. And you can see if it's a fit, but either way, you can keep it forever. So it's yours. And I hope that it is helpful for you. And we will be keeping the doors open for 1 week. So they close next Monday. You'll probably be getting some emails from me about this. If you don't purchase today, you'll get a few more pings. I'll let you know that what's happening. And I hope that I'll see you inside the membership. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.